That's a lot of
He called
gaming.
them all-nighters.
That is, I don't think people understand how much gaming that is. Welcome back to Parents vs. Gaming. This is episode 60. My name is James. This is Kia. I think we got it right that time. I think.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm going to have to make some adjustments. I don't like the way that tails off, but it is what it is. And I will figure it out in the future. We are constantly updating Parents vs. Gaming. This is probably the last episode that you will see if you're looking on video. This is probably the last that you will see this background look. I say that probably as I'm sometimes lazy and forget to do it. But everything else, the intro, the outro, and all that is new. So just got some kinks to work out on that, so we will adjust that. But you could give two craps about what we do behind the scenes unless you want to watch live, which we do at least one Sunday a month. So we are here March 12th recording this episode 60. We do it live on Kia's Twitch channel. Kia, you want to tell them what that is?
Yep, you can find me at KiaKane0801 on Twitch.
All right, so the next time we'll be live is March 26th. We're going to record probably 3 or 4 episodes that night. So if you'd love to come and be a part of the live chat during it and give your input on whatever articles or things that we're discussing that night, we would love to hear from you. We're excited. If you are listening to this on the audio platforms or YouTube, remember you can find us anywhere on Spotify, Apple Podcast, any place that you like to get your audio platforms, or YouTube under Parents vs. Gaming. Any like, comment, subscribe. I promise you it helps us a ton. You can just hit the like. If you have audio, please download it. You can undownload it after you download it, but it helps. If you don't know about any of your favorite podcasts, if they're small, it really is important to download versus just listen, because that's how podcasts are tracked. So that does help tremendously for anyone that you do follow. With that being said, I tried to go as fast as you, Kia, but I just can't do it. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't do the intro as fast as you. You're very, very fast. With that being said, episode 60 is a pretty high number. Very proud of how far we've come. We've been doing this for a while. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we get close to that 100 mark. I believe we're going to be able to stay on pace better than we have in the future. We've got definitely simplified things and have a lot better game plan than we have in the past. So,
yes.
The article tonight that Kia pulled up, this is from Child Mind Institute. If you listened last week or you're here live and you just heard us 5 minutes ago, it's from the same website. So we'll put the links in the descriptions as you listen to this later in the week. This is actually, the clinical expert is Natalie Weeder, MD, and the writer is Caroline Miller. This is from childmind.org. under the Child Mind Institute. And the headline this week that Kia is going to dive into here is, do video games cause ADHD?
Yeah.
And this actually came up randomly in our in a dinner tonight my wife and I had with a couple of friends. So I got a friend's take on this, and I'll jump in and give what he said after. But Kia, I'm going to let you take it away. I'm sure people are sick of listening to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you said, yeah, yes, they are.
Yeah, they are. That's it. Okay. I'll do the quick read real quick over the article. The quick read. I can't talk today, guys. When can I ever talk? Like, listen.
We are listening. That's how we know you're not talking.
It's Kia English around here, okay?
English.
Anyways.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right. It can be frustrating your child can't focus at school, but they can play video games for hours. They have all the signs of ADHD except when playing video games. This makes you wonder if playing video games actually causes ADHD. The short answer is no. There's no evidence that TV or video games cause ADHD. But why can many kids focus so well on video games and struggle and pay attention to anything else? The answer has to do with the kind of attention that video games require. Fast-paced games can keep your child's focus because something is always happening on the screen. In a video game, kids must respond immediately, otherwise they lose. There's no time to think or get distracted by something else. But even with video games, kids aren't really paying attention for long stretches. Instead, video game tasks change so fast that kids only need short bursts of attention. And the constant stimulation and instant rewards make these games much easier for kids to pay attention to than normal situations where they have to work harder to get rewards. It can be harmful for kids to spend lots of time playing video games, but the reason isn't that they cause ADHD. The problem with too much screen time is time not spent doing other things. The important thing is to make sure that your child is spending enough time staying connected with friends and family, keeping up with school, and enjoying non-screen activities. So
You're already stressed out, aren't you?
I'm already stressed out. Okay.
I mean, again, the first thing that comes to mind is there are some good points in what they say, but I don't like how they immediately make it seem like video gaming is horrible. And again, the most important thing that I will always say, and I know Kia agrees, is everything in moderation. And we don't mean video games in moderation. We mean everything.
Everything.
In moderation.
I mean, you're not going to go spend 12 hours out in the sun and not expect to get sunburnt. Okay? Moderation. All right? Moderation, guys.
It's just this stigma that video games are evil constantly.
Yeah.
Now, I find it funny that the ADHD topic comes up quite a bit with video games. I don't know if there's just parents that they want to... It's almost like parents that feel like they are in denial with some of these things that their kids can experience, and they want something to... It has to be something has to have had to have caused it.
Yeah.
Video games, movies... they can't pay attention to school. Anything, something had to have caused it. It's like they're just reaching.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it always boils down to it. We've seen it multiple times. And it probably will never stop. Video games always get targeted. It's just part of the stigma. Unfortunate, but we're here trying to spread that. It's not the video games. It's literally just everything in moderation, just like anything else. No, video games don't cause ADHD. Plain and simple, it doesn't happen. But like it said, there is a reason why your child can pay attention to a video game more than like sitting there and trying to read something in class or pay attention to something in class. That teacher in class is reading something out of a book, or just it's boring because it's literally just one thing. They're having to sit still. They can't do anything else, so their mind can wander. Yeah, their mind wanders off. Okay. Back in my day, we didn't have ADHD.
Yeah, exactly.
We were daydreamers, anyways.
Yeah. But I appreciate versus last week's, everything just seemed to be putting everything down. I do appreciate that this Natalie Weeder, this MD here, a child and adolescent psychiatrist at the Child Mind Institute who has treated many kids with the disorder. I love that she is trying to educate people. Really, they're showing that there's no evidence that video games and TV shows cause ADHD. The reason parents get confused with that is because they think that's causing it is because the video game and the TV shows appeal to them. And I love that she's explaining, like, video games are super fast, so it's a special appeal for kids who have ADHD, especially with TV shows. Yes. If you think about, like I said, think about SpongeBob or a video game. There's never a second when there's nothing happening on the screen. If you're playing a video game, you have to immediately respond. Otherwise, you lose. You don't have time to think. So kids with ADHD are very drawn to that. Here, there are no gaps for them to start thinking about something else. And that is true. Yes. I think so again, I like that they're pointing out that it doesn't cause that. It's something that grabs their attention because of the way the games and the TV shows are built. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a video game is not trying to make money and a TV show is not trying to get ratings. I'm sure that there's somewhere that's built into it on purpose because they know that it will appeal to a wide range, which leads me to this dinner conversation I had tonight with a friend who talked about, he thought it was funny everyone uses TV and this is the cause. And today's generation, the screen time, all this is a cause of ADHD. And he was listening. I can't remember what he said he was watching. Maybe something off the Joe Rogan show. I think it was Joe Rogan. Or he definitely talked about that show tonight at one point. But he was saying that actually instinctively the human race exists because we're instinctively born with ADHD. Because if we weren't, we would have never made it. Like no one would have been like, oh, is that a wolf? Oh, is that a dinosaur? Or, you know, whatever your theories of how long we've been on here. Yeah. And just because the situation has changed doesn't mean that instinct is fully gone from everyone. Some people are just able to, whether it's suppress it or just not react to it as much, but the instinct is still there in almost every human. And I was like, I have never looked at it that way. I don't know how realistic that sounds, but just thought it was an interesting take for sure.
It's interesting, and it makes sense because there's so many people that are our age and a little bit older that are actually going and getting and being diagnosed with ADD or ADHD now as adults, even though, you know, it's like they struggled in school, but they just struggled, you know, it's like we said, we didn't have now, I won't say that we didn't always have it because my brother was diagnosed with ADD and was put on medication, but he wasn't diagnosed until he was a teenager in high school. Okay. I didn't struggle paying attention in school, or I can't even say that. I just was really good at hiding it. And I always had really good grades. So my grades never suffered because I was constantly thinking about doing other things. I was always working on multiple things in one class because that's just how my brain operated.
Yeah.
But I also held on to information really well. Random information, but it was still like, you know, whatever interested or whatever piqued my interest. I hit it a lot better than my brother did. My brother suffered, his grades suffered.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was put on medication. My mom never even thought to get me checked ever. And there are times when I look at things and I see things and they'll be like, oh, people who have ADD or ADHD, these are some of the signs and these are some of the symptoms. I'm like, that's my whole childhood. Like, or, oh, that's me as an adult. Like, I squirrel so much in anything and everything. Yeah, pretty much. I do. I squirrel. And my community knows that about me. They watch me do it live all the time when I'm streaming. Video games, doesn't matter what video game in. I could be literally in the middle of a mission and I will see something and be like, oh, and I will turn and go do something else, even though I'm in the middle of something, doing a different mission. I squirrel a lot. I squirrel a lot in my conversations as well. Like, it's just how my brain operates, or my brain also spider webs. So like I sit there and go, oh, I remember this one word can trigger something in my mind. And I'd be like, oh yeah, well this, and my husband's like, well, how did we even get on this subject? And I'm like, oh, well this is it. And I can just trace it all the way back to whatever it was that triggered it. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, it's, as adults, we're getting diagnosed with it. So to me, it makes sense that maybe inherently we are born with it, and just some people are better at hiding it than other people.
Yeah. Some things in this article, you know, I was reading through it earlier today, Kia, and one of the parts in it is what gamers are missing. And it says, that isn't to say that kids spending an unlimited amount of time playing these games isn't harmful, but it's a different kind of harm. The problem is that all that screen time means time not spending doing other things more valuable for their development, including interacting with family and friends. And it goes on to kind of talk about how basically they just insist that playing a video game in front of a screen means that you're alone and not interacting. And that, again, just kills me, because gaming can be very, very social. You can be doing stuff with it. You know what? I would love to see, you know, I love soccer. That's what I grew up playing. I love it.
Yeah.
I went up in the backyard or practiced by myself, or I also played basketball. I went to the basketball court by myself for 4 or 5 hours at a time. Is there an article that says playing basketball in the basketball court for 5 hours by yourself means that you're not spending time developing and interacting with family and friends? Does that article exist?
No.
Or is it just about video games?
Ever. It's just about video games. It's
so
literally, and it's not
again,
even,
it's
what's
constant.
bad is it's literally, it's video games / screen time, right?
Yeah.
So,
and again, if you're just jumping in and you happen to you're scrolling through YouTube and you didn't listen to the whole thing, We are not telling you to let your kid get in front of a screen and play video games for 7 hours a day. That's not what we're saying.
No, please
Moderation.
don't do that.
Moderation.
Everything.
It's just
Everything
the
in
constant hate that gives you might be a parent out there that doesn't like gaming, that doesn't understand gaming, and there's just these constant articles of this that puts this fear in you that, oh my God, they played 10 minutes.
No, they're gonna be,
stop.
like, yeah. Everything in moderation. I hate that it says the isolation part, that they're not spending time with friends and family. And for kids that may not have a great home life, them spending time with their family is probably not a good thing. Okay? Because of their home life and how it is. And that's not every kid, okay? That's not every situation. But it's also not you're not isolating yourself if you're just doing that. There are plenty of times when you're socializing. My son and I connect over video games. Me and him went and played Apex yesterday. We went our first game on, we won. He was so ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because we won our first game on. And we were doing really good. Even if we weren't getting first place, we were getting a lot of seconds and thirds. Okay? But it was that connection, spending time with my kid, playing a video game. He's still spending time with his family. He's still spending time with me as his mom. We're just connecting in a different way. And I don't want people to think that, oh, well, because he plays video games, he doesn't spend time with his family. That's not true. There are more ways to connect with your child than just making them not play video games. There are other ways to connect with your children. And we've discussed this. Yeah. We've talked about this. We've talked about video games that you can play with your child if you've never played video games.
Yeah, if you missed that, go back a couple of episodes. It's there.
Yeah, it was literally really recent. We talked about it. So, there are ways to talk and communicate, and your children might communicate in a different way too. That's another thing. Communication is always key. Okay, screen time. So tablets. Okay, my son has a tablet, right? He uses it mostly for his school stuff because I homeschool. But when we would go to the store when he was a little bit younger and he would ride in the cart, I would give him his tablet and let him use his tablet while we grocery shopped. Because it kept him entertained. He wouldn't sit there and cry and whine about us spending an hour in the grocery store trying to find the groceries we needed or get everything we needed. Okay? Now, fast forward now, he's too big to sit in the cart, doesn't sit in the cart. The other day, he brought his tablet in with him. And I don't normally let him bring his tablet in now that he's older because I need him to pay attention to where he's walking. And he wasn't doing that. He was on his tablet. We get in the store and I fussed at him. I told him, I said, you need to put the tablet down. You need to pay attention to your surroundings. Because if I'm walking in a different direction or I turn down an aisle and you don't see it because you're paying attention to your tablet, what happens then? Just like when we're crossing the street, you don't need to be paying attention to your phone or your tablet.
Yeah.
And, it's just like I said, so when mommy's in the car, she doesn't have her phone, right? Because she has to pay attention to the road. Her phone's in her purse. And he's like, yeah. I was like, same thing, same rules apply with your tablet, son. When you're walking around, you can't have that in front of your face. I said, when it's like this in your face, you can't see. You're going to run into somebody's going to run into you, you're going to lose me. It's that simple. And I
just
am
show
very
him Pokemon Go videos.
Pokemon Go videos.
Idiots.
Listen,
you're one of those people, weren't you?
No.
Blindly walking across the street trying to catch
No,
Pokemon.
I never played Pokemon Go. Never.
You missed out.
I know. I'm so sorry. Shoot me. Okay.
But to your point, that is what was happening.
I know.
And it's a good teaching moment.
Oh yeah, it is. And I did it in a public place where people could hear me because I am very opinionated when it comes to people on their cell phones while they're driving. That will set me off so bad. I have had people almost hit me. I'm sorry. My child's life is more important than your phone. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had people look at me sideways because they're coming into my lane and then look at me like I'm the one who did something wrong. And it's like, so I was like literally trying to explain to him, like, you need to pay attention to your surroundings. Like, you can't. So typically we don't let the tablet come inside the store. I don't want to have to worry about him not paying attention. Everything in moderation, though. Like, when we're in the car and we're driving around, I let him play on the tablet. I don't care. Keeps him entertained.
Exactly. I do want to point out one other thing. Last week's article that just seemed like there was a lot of hate. This week article, it does seem like it is just spitting the facts and is a little bit more honest and open, which I really, really like. And there's one section in here called Gaming Time that I want to point out. An Iowa State University study of some 3,000 children and adolescents from Singapore measured over 3 years found that children who spent more time playing video games were more impulsive and had more attention problems. Researchers interpreted the findings to suggest that video game playing can, and in quotations here, compound kids' existing attention problems. But I love how the writer of this article does point out, but the study results don't offer supporting evidence that the games cause or worsen the attention problems. What they do suggest is that kids who play the most have more severe ADHD symptoms. Dr. Steingard says there's no evidence of casualty here. It could be that kids who have the most severe ADHD symptoms are the most drawn to video games. And again, that goes all the way back to the beginning of this article where they talk about why gaming appeals to someone with ADHD. So I like that this is pointing out that no, it does not cause it. What it is, it's probably pulling forward the people that already have the most extreme ADHD because of the way these games and these TV shows are built, that it really does appeal to them because it's constant. For those that want to say that all of society doesn't have an ADHD problem, then turn your TikTok off.
Yes.
Or your Instagram reels. I don't want to hear, I don't do TikToks, but you do reels or you do YouTube shorts. They're the same thing. I don't care what you call them.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. But
turn off all your social media.
But that's why that stuff is so popular, because it appeals to us way more than we want to admit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 100%. And like even my son or my husband's actually said it multiple times. He's like, people are addicted to social media.
Yeah. I mean, at least I will say this about you.
Are addicted to social media.
For as hateful as everyone says TikTok, like as much hate sometimes as TikTok gets, give them credit that from day one, if you're on there for about 30 minutes, there's a TikTok that comes up that says, whoa, you've been scrolling for way too long. You should take a break. Like, I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I got that person. I'm like, what time is it? Like, give them credit that they're trying to point out that, that the app itself knows at a certain time to pop up that next thing as you're scrolling through. So but again, I'm sure more people, there's more than not that almost everyone listening to this probably has hit that person at least once this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. My husband says it all the time. He's like, people are seriously addicted to social media. He's like, I don't get it. Because he does spend time on social media, but he doesn't spend a lot of time on it. Going back to I've had someone comment earlier, and I didn't say it, but Anna had said that it's been proven that video games can help people and kids with ADHD, and that they've even have a medically prescribed video games for ADHD, apparently. So I might want to look into that. I've never seen that. I don't know, but yes, I would like to look.
Yeah, find out some information on that. We could always we could do a little review on one of those games to see what it's like.
Yes. And then going back to what I was saying, how there's other ways to connect to your child other than Kai, one of my people in my community, he said, so very true. My mom got me into video games and I've never stopped since. And even made it to something that can be monetized. So it's everything in moderation. Communication is very key when it comes to your children. Keeping an eye on them, yes, I understand. But it all goes back to moderation. There's not anything wrong with your child playing video games. It's not going to cause them to have ADHD. If anything, you look at your child and if they're doing wonderful in a video game and they're not doing so great in school, you might want to go be like, oh, well, maybe my child does have ADHD. maybe I need to go get them checked. But at this, it's like it's just one of those things. And not every child that plays video games has ADHD.
Yeah, exactly.
They just might honestly truly enjoy playing a video game, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it could just be the social aspect of it as well.
Exactly.
Or maybe they're able to connect with friends that moved. I mean, when I was younger, if a kid moved out of your school district, they were gone. You never heard from them again.
You never heard from them again. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and
there can be a lot of benefits.
Family,
yeah, you were that kid. Yeah.
All the time. Okay. So it is the social aspect. I remember when AOL was a thing. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I can connect to some of my friends. Like, it's so cool. Yeah. Yes, AOL people.
AOL chat room. AOL chat room. That was Kia. She was a star.
Yeah. But yeah. I wanted to talk about those topics. They really fired me up because I was just like,
yeah, no, I think it's super important. But thank you, Kia, for bringing that to light. Of course, we're always going to go down these paths. These topics seem to come up time and time again, just in different forms or different article areas. So I'm sure we will have more opinions on this in the future. But with that, that's the end of episode 60. Again, you can find us on YouTube or any podcast platform that you want to listen to for audio. Sunday, March 26th will be the next time that we are live on twitch.tv/KillaKane0801. That's KILLAKANE 0801. Thank you guys. My name is James III. That is Kia Kane. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.